Well, good morning, good people. Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Booth Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. I hope everybody's having a great day. We have some breaking news in the NFL right now. The Pittsburgh Steelers, who have been trying to get themselves a quarterback since Big Ben went. You know, they drafted Kenny Pickett. They brought in Russell Wilson this year. Chicago quarterback got Justin Fields. They brought him in. None of those things have worked, and they've been a decent team making the playoffs, but not getting any victories, kind of like the Cowboys.
Oh, shit! Oh, shit! Oh.
And so they are in the market for getting a quarterback, and they have contacted the Jacksonville Jaguars, and allegedly, per Adam Schefter, are in trade talks for Trevor Lawrence.
Oh, shit! Oh, shit! Oh.
Early, what we've heard is that they've offered a first and a second for Trevor Lawrence. I think that might be a little bit light because here's the problem for the Jacksonville Jaguars is maybe they do want to move on from Trevor Lawrence, but they just paid him the second biggest contract in football a year ago, which means they'd get about $100 million in dead money. So that's a major piece to this. Now, it may be that they might be interested with a little bit more draft compensation. The problem here is now the draft, of course, in a couple of months is in Green Bay this year. Green Bay, it's redunculous how expensive that draft is going to be. We're talking about like the Days Inn being $1,000 a night because there's not enough hotel space in Green Bay. But the year after, now we don't know how the hotel space is in Pittsburgh, but that's where the draft is. And I'm not sure that they want to give up their first-round draft pick for next year's draft when it's in their backyard. That would be kind of like, So maybe it is that they end up looking at offering, the second round and the third round or something like that for that year to try and get it if they are serious with it. For the Jaguars, man, that's a big hit. So this bears watching. Here's the thing that's funny to me. It's not really funny. It's actually more sad than anything else. Is the Dallas Cowboys, my team that always seems to be afraid to make moves or cautious. You're already beginning to see at least the Steelers saying, we got a major hole that we need to fill. Justin Fields ain't it. Although I'm not sure that Trevor Lawrence is it. He was the number one pick and so on. He did make the playoffs third year. But he has been very, very turnover prone. In that playoff game that they won, 5 turnovers. 5. So, yeah. Trevor Lawrence on the trade block. This is, to me, this is the difference between other teams. Not that Jacksonville's had that much more success than the Cowboys. At least you say they're trying to do something. And the same thing with the Steelers. They're trying to make moves to get better. The clock's ticking for the Cowboys, and I don't know if we're going to do anything any different or we're just going to do with the status quo of Jerry Jones. This is 2 years ago.
A little bit of Cowboy regret. If they come to you and say, hey, we need you to restructure, take less money, you need to hear them say, we're going to take some of that money and we're going to spend with it. And, of course, Stephen Jones and Jerry and the Cowboys are allergic to spending right now.
They're allergic to spending.
Have been for a decade.
Yeah. Well,
low key.
Here's the thing. We need to go back over the past 10 years and see, I assume that the majority of teams are right up next to the cap when it's time to be next to the cap. That means you're spending. We're going to talk about baseball getting called out at 7:40 on Your Home of the Rangers. That is an example of being cheap and not spending. But the Cowboys, it's not like they're $50 million away from the cap ceiling, so they are spending. They're just spending on their own, and they're not going out and getting. And this used to be really applauded when the Washington R's would go out and spend every offseason.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Mhm.
That was, something you could go and change on Madden, making your new different roster with your all-star teams or Bruce Smith and Deion Sanders, but it always failed. Albert Hainsworth. And that has lasted with Stephen Jones. And there's a lot of people who put out their to-do list for the offseason, and it's basically they're available for a reason, other free agents, and spend on what you know. Some organizations, including this one, have a philosophy of promoting from within. Why? Because they know Kevin Gray and how much he's going to work. They know Peyton Russell, and if they can wake him up at 3 a.m. to put Sean and RJ on the air during a winter storm. Seriously, though, you know those things,
Yeah.
right? And that's the way some organizations work. I'm going to go ahead and pay Johnny Schmo on the street $20 million and tick off the locker room. If this radio station in replacing Kavanaugh just immediately went out and hired an outsider versus put Kevin on or put Reggie on or put the nosebleeds on, that may tick off some people in-house. That's the way a lot of people look at free agency in sports. And Stephen Jones has been married to it, and he has not cheated or looked outside the other way at all.
Well, I guess to me, that's the issue now, that you have to evolve with the way that modern team building is done. We're watching teams around the league engage in an arms race, whether it be the AFC West or what's going on in the NFC with teams like the Rams, who are continuously
AFC North.
The AFC North. There are
going.
plenty of teams and
This is 2
divisions
years ago,
that are
guys.
looking at their situation and saying, how do we improve based on where we finished last year and how close we can get to winning a championship by potentially adding pieces that can help us get there? And then to me, when you look at the Cowboys, why are these other players good enough for everyone else
But the
except
Cowboys.
the Cowboys when it comes to certain places that you have to improve your roster with? I'm not saying go out and spend, a bunch of money just to say that you spent a bunch of money like how the Jacksonville Jaguars did. I'm saying find different ways to plug holes that can help you get closer to winning a championship, that can definitely fortify your roster based on the way that you finished last year versus regressing, in my mind, with the talent reductions that you've had for this team during this offseason. That's all I'm saying. That's all I want Catboy to do. Spend some money. Put some guys in positions to fortify your roster and make things a little bit better to see if you can get closer to winning a championship.
What area?
There you go. So we'll see if the Steelers can pull this thing off or not. But it's getting interesting. Things are heating up. This lets you know that there is no off season when it comes to football. Super Bowl just a few days ago, and here we are looking at a mega trade possibly for Trevor Lawrence. And we still have Micah Parsons out there who wants to get paid, and the Cowboys have an opportunity to move the needle and make fans feel a whole lot better. All right, good people. I'll talk to you soon. Peace.